Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome in. Glad to have you guys here on another podcast episode. Here we're going to be discussing the Pickle 6A getting a mandatory update, and what this is all about. Shout out to Coffee, um, who has basically been chatting with me yesterday on Google Chat. We chatted a little bit about it and what could be done and why this is happening. So I figured I would go live this morning and kind of share that reasonings why. So not too long of a live stream today and not a multiple discussion, but something that I just really wanted to kind of dive into for people that have Pixel 6a still, and for them to understand why this is happening for them. And if at their own discretion they don't want to take the update, what you could possibly do, but I wouldn't recommend it. George of San Joaquin Valley, welcome in. Glad to have you here, bro. Anyways, before we get started, the familiars, first off, please smash the like button. And it does help out the channel. So that's the best way to show support, is to hit that like button below. Also share this to your friends, family, your coworkers, everything out there, right? Share it on social media. It would do me a solid. And shout out to the channel members. Your names are listed below in the ticker if you guys may have not noticed. Also, if you guys want to show direct support to the channel, the QR code is right there below. It's also going to remain at the top left, just above my little icon right here. And you guys will be able to send those directly if you guys don't want to send it through YouTube. Anyways, also, still got a couple of shirts left from the Nerd Limited Wear if you guys want to pick one up, just to, rock that, you are a nerd. Definitely show your support. Grab you a t-shirt right there. But other than that, I mean, got to give shout outs also basically for helping me get to 13,800 subscribers. I appreciate you guys for that. And if you guys want to become a member for members exclusive content, then become a member today. We truly appreciate it. It's like a cup of coffee. So, you know what I mean? Pretty good investment. Anyways, let's get that stuff out the way. And good morning to everybody. And I'm glad to have you guys here. We're talking Pixel 6a. It gets a mandatory Android update. Shout out to Coffee, who is one of the channel supporters, for chatting with me yesterday. This update is actually been, it's been rolling out since July 8th, right? Today we are the 12th, so it's been 4 days that they've been rolling this device update out. My Samsung Galaxy A15 5G got an upgrade from Android 14 to Android 15, One UI 6 and One UI 7. Yeah. Of course, Samsung is kind of behind on the curve when it comes to the updates, and that's something I'll probably talk about in the future regarding Samsung devices. But yeah, today it's all about why this update is even happening with Pixel 6a's. And what you got to understand, yes, it is a mandatory update. There kind of like isn't really a way to get around this. So hang on, let me see if I can work this right. There we go. We really don't need me individuals right here. But this is an article from 9 to 5 Google, and let me pop this in the chat so you guys can actually click on the link, save it for later if you guys want to read it later on your downtime or whatever. But there's a link to it. So 9 to 5 Google, and it pretty much outlines the Pixel 6a and this mandatory battery update that is being pushed out. Now, I can tell you guys one of the major reasons for this is, if you guys remember the Pixel 4a and the battery issue that happened with that, right? So Pixel 4a experienced battery issues. Pixel 7a users were experiencing an issue that regarded the battery swelling, So Google really is trying to protect itself. What up, B-Tech? Google's trying to protect itself in a sense that they are pushing out this mandatory update, which, cannot really be worked around. Like I said, I had a discussion on Google Chat with Coffee, who is a channel supporter and usually ends up in my live streams commenting. I don't know if Coffee's in here right now watching or not, but we had a small discussion on Google Chat. We were talking about this, right? And Coffee's Pixel 6a, believe it or not, was able to keep it on Android 14. Like, Coffee literally avoided going up in the Android OS ladder, stayed on Android 14, and was really just it did not want to deal with the latest features, right? Now the Pixel 6a that Coffee has got hit with that update, and he even shared a screenshot of what the update says in the system settings, and it was kind of crazy because it even tells you with that system update that it's mandatory. I mean, you could try to fudge the system to stop the software update, but technically Pixel 6a's are mandatory to update to it. And from what my gatherings was after reading all this, is that this was for some Pixel 6a's. Not all Pixel 6a's are receiving this. And I guess there are, based on the IMEI, there are lists of Pixel 6a's that could be affected by what is known as this heating issue with the battery. Okay, so this is what Google pretty much explains. Like I said, the link is in the chat if you guys want to read it for yourselves. But Google explains that all Pixel 6a devices will receive a mandatory automatic software update to Android 16 with rollout starting on July 8th, 2025, but only impacted devices will receive the battery management features. Some users will see changes sooner than others because the battery management features activate only after an impacted device reaches 400 charge cycles. Okay, so this is a little bit different from the Pixel 9a getting what's called the battery health assistant. You guys may have heard me talk about it in past videos that I stated that, one of the things that people might find a negative about the Pixel 9a was that it was going to receive this battery health assistant update that would kick in after 200 charge cycles. Now, to be clear and specific on what a charge cycle is, it doesn't mean every time you plug in your device that is a charge cycle. A charge cycle is basically counted from 0% to 100%, but it doesn't mean that you won't get one charge cycle if you only let your battery drop to like 20% and then you charge it back up. How they do this is if you charge tonight and say your phone is down to 50%, you charge it tonight from 50% to 100%. That's a half a charge cycle. And if you do the same thing tomorrow night, then that would consider to be one charge cycle. So it's every time that the phone completes what it literally counts as a 0 to 100% charge, right? 50, one night, 50 another night, that's 100%. So that would be a charge cycle. So on Pixel 9A's, it's 200 charge cycles before the battery health assistant kicks in, where it starts reducing the charging volts and the battery capacity, right? So after 200 charge cycles on a Pixel 9A, basically the 5100 milliamp hour battery becomes a 50 milliamp hour, and it probably reduces by like maybe 5 to 10 to 15, maybe 50 milliamp capacity as over time. Pretty much for those who would be like, this sucks, this is dumb. Let me just say this. If you praise iPhones, if you like the way that iPhones function, this is something that iPhones have, right? This is why when you go out and maybe you're going to go buy a used iPhone, people always share a photo of like the iPhone they're selling, and they always tend to show the battery health, where if you get one that like the battery health is 100%, that's pretty good, right? Because it means that the capacity of the battery is at its full max. But if it's like 85%, then if it was a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, then it's not charging up to 5,000 milliamps of battery capacity. It's charging up less than that. So iPhones do it. Google Pixels are doing it. The 9A is doing it after 200 charge cycles. But this mandatory update with the Pixel 6a basically says that over 400. So if you reach 400 charge cycles, then this will kick in. They also go on to say that not all Pixel 6a devices are impacted by the reduction in battery capacity and charging performance. If your performance is not impacted, your battery management features will remain the same as before, and you will not be eligible for these support options under this program. So this is going to be a little bit different, because then this is where people are going to be frustrated with this, because with only some Pixel 6As that are affected are going to have this, which means that there will be other Pixel 6As that don't ever get this update. And that's because they're not considered to be one of the ones that's impacted. So I can tell you guys right now, I haven't received a software update on my Pixel 6a at all whatsoever. My Pixel 6a has been totally fine at this point. Like I said, I've not received anything that suggests it's going to be forced to this update. But that could change. I don't know. Actually, let's find out right now. While we're on this podcast and we're live, let me turn it on. Let me connect it to Wi-Fi, and let me see if a mandatory update is pushed to my device. Even though my device is running on Android 16 QPR1 Beta 2, or I think Beta 2.1, something like that. We'll find out right now, because it will tell me. I'm pretty sure that if this particular one is affected, it should be getting some sort of a software update that puts it on it. So we're gonna find out right now. Okay. Let me take it off do not disturb mode and just silence the notifications, so you guys are not hearing all these notifications just kind of blare through. And what I'm going to look for right now is the software update. All right, so we're checking for an update right now. And for mine, it says your system is up to date. So no software update waiting for me. And I'll run another check one more time. Okay. And mine is currently on the June 5th security patch update on Android QPR1 Beta 2. So I'll let it sit here for a minute, let things catch up with notifications. it is a very interesting situation when it comes to these Pixel devices, which has me, me being someone who likes Google Pixel phones. I mean, I'm not going to try to wash this under the table like it's not an issue. It is an issue. And I'm very curious if Google's ever going to release like the reasons why the Pixel 6a, the Pixel 7a, and the Pixel 4a had battery issues. Like, was it a battery manufacturer that they were getting batteries from that were plagued with issues? Because this kind of like, kind of goes back to, Samsung, right? Samsung and the Galaxy Note 7, the infamous Galaxy Note 7 that, caused Samsung some huge issues. Oh, I like this comment. I mean, yeah, stick to YouTube because obviously, but he can't stream what he's going to stream on YouTube. YouTube's got very strict policies, especially lately with YouTube and its changes, which I'm going to be talking about on Tuesday's podcast. All these changes to YouTube and how this affects content creators. So if you are inspiring to be a content creator, or if you're thinking about, one day being a creator, you might want to know all these things. I'll talk about that on Tuesday, Mike. But the interesting thing, I'm pretty sure when it comes to the US version of TikTok that they're making this new app to replace TikTok for US users. A lot of creators, they're not going to have them dump all their stuff. More than likely, everything is going to be adapted. Like for TikTok creators, they're going to have some sort of functionality where they can, migrate all their video content over to this new app, or it's just going to like seamlessly happen in background. They're not just going to like shut it down and every video that was created by a creator here in the US is going to get wiped and erased. That's just something that I don't see them doing. That would hurt TikTok and its platform a lot. So, anyways, going back to the subject at hand. So the reasoning for all this, right? Affected Pixel 6As have been known to just have this battery heating issue. Okay. After so many charge cycles, people have noticed that they've noticed that the battery in the Pixel 6a is like heating tremendously beyond what's considered normal. It puts a lot of strain on the battery in itself, and it could cause damages. Like if you've seen short form content of people's phones kind of just like, not exploding like like a big explosion, but just, the battery swelling, the phone just kind of like bursting open and all that liquid getting on people's skins, causing burns and irritation, basically some serious injuries. And with Google not being able to do this without putting this update out to try to protect its users, could put them in a very serious situation. Yeah, carbon silicon batteries are, that's the way to go. And I'm surprised. I'm hoping that the Pixel 10 series uses carbon silicon batteries, right? I believe the Nothing Phone 3 uses a carbon silicon battery, and that's the way to switch up. Just because it can be, the batteries can be built in a form factor where it is small, yet still have like a lot of juice, right? Like a significantly high amount of capacity to keep a phone powered on, right? And without making the phone become a huge brick. So that's one of the things that I like about carbon silicon batteries. But anyways, for those people out there who are like, is there kind of like a way around this? And there kind of is. There kind of is a way around it if you don't want to take the software update. And I'm only saying this because like I'm being fair to both sides, right? I'm not, I don't support anyone doing it. I don't think you should do it. I honestly think you should take the update. Um, that way, if there is an issue that still happens with your Pixel 6a, and say that you actually end up getting hurt by this issue with the battery, then you have a ground to stand on if you decide to request that Google give you some sort of compensation. If you stand, in front of a judge and you're like, yeah, I did these steps to not take the update because I didn't want it, well, then you lose all the ground to fight to get some sort of compensation for your injuries. So I wouldn't suggest people to do it, but yes, there could be a way to kind of like go around this. Obviously, it's in the form of installing a custom ROM. So if you have a Pixel 6a and it's not a Verizon version, because Verizon version, you're stuck like Chuck. All right, bootloader's locked. You can't do anything with the Pixel 6a as far as modifying it. You're gonna have to take the update. But if you have a Google unlocked variant, if you get the notification that there is a system update ready and available for you, then what I would do, is basically unlock the bootloader, which would wipe your device. So make sure you back up all your information. Then I would use the Android Flash tool to downgrade the Pixel 6a down to like Android 15. Just get it into the last stable Android 15 release from Google. Get that on there from the Android Flash tool. Then after you're done doing that, make sure you have a custom ROM that you want. Excuse me. Make sure you have an Android custom ROM that you want. Evolution X, CR Droid, Lineage OS, whatever it is. Make sure you have one of those ready and available. All its necessary files to flash, right? Like the DTBO image, the boot image, the vendor boot image. And if you're going to do root and any of that stuff, make sure you have all those files ready and available. Make sure you have, platform tools installed on your PC, and your necessary drivers. And so, like, once you downgraded to Android 15, you boot the phone on, boot it into fast boot, and install the custom recovery, and then sideload flash the whatever ROM you choose. The reason why I say that is because the custom ROMs from the at-home developers are not going to have this in their custom ROM. They're not going to have this battery assistant being the update. So yes, it removes, if your device is listed as an affected device, it prevents you from taking this mandatory update. But again, like I said, I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it. Now, if you're familiar with using ADB and terminal commands, I believe there is a way to go in and completely stop automatic software updates. I don't know what the command would be to prevent that. You can Google that yourself and find out, but not even I would recommend that, because that's tapping into things that could be detrimental to your phone. You could seriously mess your phone up if you execute the wrong command, or if you end up deleting a file, in the device's file system, and it can soft brick your phone or even hard brick your phone. So I wouldn't recommend it. I would say if you want to avoid taking this update, going a custom ROM is probably your best bet. But then again, if you go, and you do a custom ROM, and you kind of like shoot yourself in the foot, because if your phone does have a battery issue and you do get injured by it, you don't have a ground to stand on to receive any type of compensation from Google, because they will know that you put a custom ROM on your phone, and that automatically just it just puts negligence on your part. Since the update, my phone has become unusable. Maybe that's the reason they gave $100. Yeah, a similar thing is happening though, and that's why people are like, they don't want to take the Pixel 6a update, because this is becoming a problem. I hope there's a way to go back to a previous update. I believe because this is mandatory, I believe that there's going to be something put in place with this system update that prevents you from downgrading. Um, I mean, you're more than welcome to try. If anyone doesn't know, there's a thing called the Android Flash tool, and that will, if you have a non-Verizon model where you can unlock the bootloader, um, it will allow you to downgrade if your device is capable to downgrade. Like I've connected my Pixel 4 XL, because that was one of the ways I was trying to crack the bootloader, because the 4XL I have is a Verizon model. I was trying to crack the bootloader, see if I can, get anywhere with it trying, and I tried to downgrade it down to Android 11, and it was allowing me to select the Android 11 stable software, but because the bootloader is locked and cannot be unlocked because Verizon locks them, I was shit out of luck. I could not downgrade it. A battery swap could probably fix it. Um, Definitely. And you know what? The Pixel 6a has been out for quite some time. So even going to getting a battery swap wouldn't be a bad idea. If you have like a local You Break I Fix in your area, which is owned by Assurion now, and they can actually do the battery swap. But sometimes their prices are a bit iffy. That's why I don't really recommend You Break I Fix for everything. I know they're certified to work with Google products and get them fixed, right? But like a cracked Pixel 4 XL display, because I found somebody that had one for sale, a Google unlocked model. I wanted to buy it, but the display was like really cracked at the bottom, and I was like, oh well, I can get a display replacement. And currently today, a Pixel 4 XL screen replacement costs $319, which is like double the amount of what a refurbished Pixel 4 XL would cost. So I'm like, why would I pay $319 to get a new display on there that costs double the amount of what a used, excellent condition refurbished Pixel 4 XL would cost? It just didn't make sense, right? So I mean, you could go and check to see if there's places that will do a battery swap for a reasonable price, and maybe, because again, this all pertains to the type of battery that's inside the Pixel 6a, and it heating overcharging. So it's a very sad case point for the Pixel 6a. The Pixel 4a has faced the backlash of what happened to it. The 7a was having these battery swelling issues. It's just not a good look for Google. However, on the flip side of it not being a good look for Google, I actually am happy and proud of Google is trying to get ahead of these things to prevent people from having issues. And that much I respect Google for. Because I can tell you guys, the reason why I felt bad and also felt like, this is detrimental for Google is because Google doesn't get a fair shake from most customers out there, from most would-be customers out there. I mean, Samsung did this. People would kind of like flame Samsung, but then at the same time too, they would just kind of whitewash it under the rug. As long as Samsung says they're going to fix it, then they would be fine. If this was Apple, it would be defended to the end. Google gets like the critiques of a lifetime. The people who critique it, they're very harsh and they're unforgiving. So while Google has gained this market share, it has gained in the last 2 years, they really have to protect that because it could easily be taken away because the critics are still as critical as they were before. Samsung sends you break I fix for a Galaxy Fold, but if you take it there, it voids your warranty. I know some things just don't make sense. Some things don't make sense. I mean, that would be weird. Because I know that You Break I Fix is also certified to fix Samsung devices, the same as they are certified for Google device fixes. Since the battery issue, I was looking to switch to a compact phone. Ain't buying Google with slow charging anymore. Between OnePlus 13s and the Vivo X200, what do I think? I'll be honest with you, the OnePlus 13s has caught my eye. Not just the look of the phone, but just also also the specifications of it to me. If you're asking me what I would choose a OnePlus 13s. But that's me. And the OnePlus 13s just kind of fits of like what I want and what I feel about a smartphone. Yeah. So, anyways, that's pretty much all the info that I have regarding this. Just a couple of things I want to get you guys in on upcoming videos this coming week. First of all, I am going to be comparing my experiences with the Google Pixel ecosystem versus the Apple ecosystem, and the ecosystem that I'm using. I call it the core ecosystem. It just means smartphone, earbuds, smartwatch, that type of a thing. I'm not gonna go out and buy a MacBook and compare it to a Pixelbook. I'm not getting a Mac computer, and Pixels don't really have a PC type computer, or getting iPad and Pixel tablet. Like, I'll revisit that when I get, tablets like that down the road. But a pretty good deal I found. I'm gonna go pick it up today. I'm gonna go check it out, make sure that it's not iCloud locked to an account or anything like that. But it's the Nike version of Apple Watch SE. I'm going to pick up. I figured that would be like a nice fair comparison to my Pixel Watch Gen 1. So I downloaded the Apple Watch app on my iPhone. And I gotta go meet the person later on and test the watch out and then buy it. And if the deal goes good, I'm basically buying the watch for $30. So I don't know if you guys comment below. Let me know. Those that watch the replay, comment in the comment. Let me know if that was a good deal. I think it is. You know what I mean? It's an Apple Watch. I usually feel like that people who have Apple products, they tend to resell their products at such a high price because Apple does have good resale value. So I figured it would be a lot more. And I've seen a lot of Apple Watch SE Gen 1s being sold, used for like $100 to $125. So I don't know. The Nike version of the Apple Watches are pretty sick. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so I'll not only have like a first impressions of using it, correct? Because it's not brand new, so I'm not going to be unboxing it, but it's new to me. So I'm going to pick it up today. I'll probably have a video Monday releasing, right? Because I release videos Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and I go live Tuesdays and Thursdays. And when I release videos, I release more than one video, right? So if Monday, I could have 3 videos releasing morning, afternoon, and 1 in the evening. Unless I only have like 2 or 1 video, then, right? I never really know how many videos I'm going to have. It just depends on how much videos I'm making behind the scenes, right? Maybe one day I'll do a video, a day in my life of being a content creator and making, and how I make my videos and how do I plan for my videos. And trust me, I don't have any type of like parking lot board with ideas written on it to make videos. Sometimes I could be lying in bed watching a movie, and then I think of something like, oh, I want to make a video about that. And I'll get up, I'll shut my movie off, and I'll start setting up the lights and, how I'm going to make the video, and I just make the video. But I mean, maybe I'll do that one day. Hit the like button if you guys want to see that type of video from me, and I'll definitely make that for you guys. But I appreciate you guys for coming through. Hopefully I was able to kind of just, give some informative information for everyone that has a Pixel 6a and how this mandatory software update is going to work out. I would say, even though it sucks, do take it though, because if anything happens to that Pixel 6a and it injures you, I would want you to be able to get some sort of compensation from Google for the injury. I don't want them to have a loophole to say you did something to the phone, so that's now your fault. You should have taken our update, so you get nothing. You know what I mean? That sucks. I wouldn't want anyone to go through that. So again, thanks. Smash the like button. Thank you guys for being here. Another live stream this Tuesday. We're going to talk more about the Pixel 10 release. So I'm going to do a Pixel live stream on Tuesday. So I hope to see you guys there. Until next time, you guys be cool and be safe out there. And if you guys like wrestling, follow B-Tech Reviews. Follow him on TikTok. He's going to be live streaming a PLE from AEW that I'm going to go watch. So I'll talk to y'all later. And as always, aloha. Be safe, please. Please do.